Okay, guys, today we're getting into the weeds with some drama. It's drama o'clock again. So, what up, friendos? Welcome back. And today we're talking about asmongold and Palworld and his hot take that's got Twitter angry, trying to cancel him. The game about his hot take, which Twitter is angry about, that they're trying to cancel as well. And we're just going to go over, my thoughts and feelings about it. Who am I? Nobody really cares. If you don't care about my opinion, we'll get into this concept in a minute. But obviously, I'm just a person who's going to talk about how I feel about it. You can let me know how you feel about it in the comments. And then we'll all move on and nobody will care in a week because this is just how the internet works. So basically, Palworld came out mostly, out of nowhere. Most people didn't know the game existed. And it's been a smash hit. It's been super successful. It's, breaking records on Steam. It's the second most popular paid game ever in terms of concurrent player count. God, that's a sentence. And it seems to be, going from strength to strength. Now, this game is evidence of what asmongold's about to talk about, which has got a lot of people very upset, which is that even if the narrative surrounding the game, whether true or false, is negative, a good product will be good and used by people regardless of the narrative. A bad product will not be, because it's very easy to boycott something you wouldn't want to use or care about in the first place. It's much harder when consumers decide this thing is good and fuck all the things around it, fuck all the noise, even if that noise is something maybe I should care about or would in other circumstances. We all do this. We're going to get into the weeds with this a little bit in a minute, but making a stand on this topic, while I understand why people are doing it and I understand why it's important to do so, you already are kind of proving asmongold's point when you're using Twitter, a company owned by Elon Musk, when you're using a smartphone, a product made by a company that's exploiting labor, that are using batteries that are, produced in some pretty poor conditions, allegedly. This is a thing that everyone does, and obviously people like to stand on certain topics, but they've already kind of, lost the moral high ground when they're not standing on all the topics, which is, in a way, whataboutism, but at the same time, just completely true. So we're going to go over what did asmongold say, what did people get really upset about, and then we're going to go over the response from people, which literally prove his point for him, and also just, look like some shit slinging for no real reason, as opposed to attacking the point. There's just a lot of ad hominem about how he lives his life, which is his own fucking business, whether you agree or not. And basically reason to shit on him as an individual, as a person, and also on streamers and things like that in general. But this is not a woe is me, oh, won't somebody think of the millionaire streamers? This is just an interesting topic I wanted to give my take on. So here we go, asmongold about to give his fucking super hot flames take that's got people real riled up.
To expect me to draw a moral line, I have to perceive a difference that I consider substantial. And I do not consider the difference substantial. Do you guys? No. Right. No. And that's really what matters. If it was made with AI, I'm completely okay with that because it was fun.
So this is the beginning of what was the hot take, right? If it's good, do I care how it was made? Now, on the surface level, people are going to go, oh, that's bad because, there's, you should think about the repercussions and the ramifications of how products are made, and this is just pure consumerism. True, but what he said is also true. Again, people people still buy off Amazon. People still, consume factory farmed animals. People do all the bad things so long as it's convenient to their life and it upholds their quality of life and things that they enjoy and things that they like. It's just what people do. That's the point he's making. To get upset about that is to just deny how, modern, at least Western society that I can speak to, functions, thrives, and how most people complaining about this do operate on some level. It just depends where you're standing and which point you're going to pick to stand at. So let's continue.
The evidence is that
it doesn't matter. Nobody really cares
the lead
about this.
developer has been...
Some people do care, but it's the people that, again, are taking issue with it. The people that play in the game don't give a fuck, as is stated, as is obvious, even objectively looking at the numbers. If everybody cared about this, people wouldn't be playing the game. Again, if the product was bad, people wouldn't be playing the game. But the product's good, meaning that most people literally, and I've seen this firsthand again with other games, with the whole like Nexon, Iron Mace, Dark and Darker thing. Some people think that this is a reason to not play the game because there's legal disputes and there potentially might be plagiarism and you know, theft of intellectual property and theft of trade secrets. And some people are like, I don't give a fuck, the game's good. Fuck Nexon. I literally don't care. And I've seen tons of comments about Palworld saying, even if they stole from Pokemon, I don't care because the game's fun. And how many times are you going to see that about anything ever? You'll just see it. To deny that is you're just denying basic reality that exists around you. So yeah, let's move on.
Very positive about AI in the past. Yeah. And made an AI game.
We're gonna play
called
this, by the way.
AI Art Imposter that lets an AI artist draw a picture. And so that was like one of the games.
We're gonna be playing this week.
Yes, just generally has been much more positive about some of the benefits of AI rather than what is the normal sentiment amongst artists and you know, I guess general Twitter population, which is that, you know, AI is bad and it takes jobs from people.
Well, AI and the sentiment from artists opinions don't matter.
So this is the beginning of where I'm sure if he had more time to maybe, you know, I can't speak for him. I think probably if he had more time and wasn't in the heat of the moment reacting to a video, which we're going to get into in a minute as well, and trying to be entertaining and give, you know, just a basic surface level take on this, he'd probably word it in a different way. But what he's saying at the very basis of it is true. You know, the opinion of me, the opinion of you watching this video, the opinion of anybody who takes issue with anything is totally irrelevant to the fact that people will consume what they like, full stop. Like, Kanye West is crazy, you know. I don't say that disparagingly. He has some severe mental health issues. I'm still going to listen to Kanye West's music, even if the stuff he says is deplorable and I would never agree with anything about it. He makes good music. I'm going to listen to it. Lots of other people are as well. You know, the people who like his music and are going to listen to his music because it's good. Don't care about anything surrounding it. You know, I'm not going to invite him over for tea. Not going to, you know, say Kanye West is a good person, but I am going to consume it. Disney, not a very good company. You know, you can look this up. I'm not going to get into specifics of every example, but the people are going to watch the Marvel newest movie that comes out. It's just what people do. So to deny this and pearl clutch over it because you're an artist or whatever else, it seems like, you know, kind of missing the forest for the trees here and getting upset about something because it's personal to you instead of zooming out and looking at the facts of the matter. Again, he doesn't really word it in the most, you know, soft-natured way or whatever, but yeah, it is what it is.
It just doesn't matter because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares. Like, it's not relevant.
I do think the idea that nobody cares, obviously I'd have to understand what he means by that, but on surface level I don't think he literally means nobody cares. I think he's talking about from the perspective of people buying the product. None of those people care, and maybe some of them do, but still their care of that doesn't change the fact that they're going to consume the product, because obviously some people think, yeah, I'd love if this was made in a better way, and I do think there's issues with it, but it's convenient and I like it. And at the end of the day, this is going to sound mega selfish, but this is just how most people operate, and I think is true on most levels. Is it really beneficial to your life, your limited time on this planet, to not do things that would otherwise enrich your life and have you enjoy it more, you know, do the things that you enjoy more, just because you take some issue with it, especially when it's something that hasn't been fully figured out yet and hashed out and people have not really come to consensus on it. I personally think it's up for everybody to decide, and deriding people or attacking people's person for coming on a different, you know, a different level or a different position on this than you do is obviously an issue. I don't think that's what people should be doing, because you're not really attacking the core problem, which is the thing being able to exist within the framework of law, which should govern things like this, versus obviously people just, I like thing, going to do thing, which is just common human nature. So yeah, let's move on, I guess.
It's like whenever one of these, like, you know, really well-respected and really respectable directors talks about how bad Marvel is, Shut up, old man. Shut up.
Yeah.
I like watching the Thor movie. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's an example and is true. You know, it's when... A good example, because I was listening to some Linkin Park earlier. If you go and listen to, especially years ago, obviously before people passed away and things like that, a lot of the, you know, old rock people or the metal people, they, you know, laugh at Linkin Park. Oh, this new metal, you know, who's going to listen to that? It's just, you know, Babby's first metal, blah, blah, blah. But they were mad popular, and because people liked it. It's always the same with everything, and movies is a good thing, because I've literally just used the example of the Marvel movies as well. Thing that is popular but isn't as deep is always going to get this from people, because they're going to think that's not real cinema, that's not real music, that's not a real video game. And we've even seen people move the goalposts a little bit as to, you know, is Palworld a good game? For a lot of people, the game's all right. I think the game's pretty good. Do I think the people going crazy saying this is game of the year? It's fucking January, guys. You know, chill out. And also, do I think the game's going to be around and as popular in 3 months? It'll be around. Will it be as popular? Probably not. No, the developer doesn't have a history of supporting their games in the best way. I think it's a good game. Do I think it's like a groundbreaking, amazing game? No, I just think it's hit at a right time with features that resonate with people, and that's really it. It can just be a good game. It can exist in this moment of time, like Among Us, like Fall Guys, things like that. They take over the consciousness of gamers for a short period of time, and then people move on. And in, you know, 6-12 months' time, are people going to be saying, oh, Palworld was the best game ever? No, probably not. Will we be talking about this drama in 6-12 months? No, probably not. But the core issue will remain, and that is obviously AI and plagiarism. So let's look at the reaction of people who were talking about asmongold's take here, which again I do think was probably not worded in the most, you know, mild-mannered way, but it's an entertainment product, but I don't think he's wrong in any conceivable way. So let's look. We would very comfortably live in a world without game streamers. True, but much like art, this might trigger some people here. But people enjoying something is literally the basis of why you like art. Like, looking at something and feeling some kind of way, some feeling, is all art really gives you, right? I might be uneducated on this. I might be a stupid, you know, a swine who doesn't understand art as well as you guys do. I'm not a big art person personally, other than the art of, you know, I consider music art. I consider video games art. I consider reading a good book. That's art to me. I'm not really one to look at pictures, to be honest. But the idea of I'm going to talk negatively about this thing that doesn't need to exist, because it, you know, what does a video game streamer do when you're defending art? You know, I do feel like there's a little bit of something there you could pick out. So a life without art, inconceivable. Asmongold is fully aware his content is vapid and disposable, hence the attack on artists, you know, the people whose content he leeches off of. So obviously he's talking about React content there, and you can definitely have an opinion on this. But again, you are proving his point by saying he's all of these bad things. He's a immoral person who steals from the lowly artist who is breaking his back in the fucking lithium mines. And Asmongold just a big millionaire that swoops in and whips all these people that are working in those lithium mines and steals all their content. And yet, he's more popular than all those people. Thus proving his fucking point that you're arguing against. That even if all these negative things exist about this person, whether true or untrue, he is proof of the point he's making that you're arguing about. Like, this is, in a microcosm, the exact issue with what you're arguing about or against. You're proving his fucking point by saying it. Like, whether you want to defend or attack Asmongold on this is indisputable, simple logic. You are proving his point by saying he's all these bad things, and yet he's still mega popular, one of the biggest streamers on the planet for the last, you know, X amount of years. So you are proving his point. I probably can't show this, but this I will have to edit out, I guess, on the screen. It's a picture of Asmongold as a caricature of himself. You know, goofy teeth, bald head, saying artist opinions don't matter, and then there's a dildo that says #1 Blizzard fan slapping him in the face, and the text reads, all I'm saying to my fellow artists, if we're going to spam post about Asmongold today, we can at least have some fun with it. So slapping him in the face with a dildo with Blizzard fan on it is apparently the way to approach his opinions. reasonable for you to do. If people enjoy it, people enjoy it. I do think that you're not really addressing his point there, but you know, people are going to have fun with it, as they should do with all dramas on the internet. At the end of the day, who gives a fuck? This is literally just filling the void in everybody's life until the next thing comes along. This is just distracting you from the fact that you're living in a fucking nightmarish hellscape where everyone's on social media caring about the opinions of strangers on the internet. Meanwhile, the world burns around you with multiple wars and blah, blah, blah. But let's not, you know, peek behind the fucking veil too much. Let's not pull back the curtain on the you know, the destruction of the planet and the growing cost of living crisis across the globe and all the other problems. Let's just focus on the real important things in our day-to-day life, like, is Palworld using AI without evidence? Did they plagiarize this multi-billion-dollar company that literally wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire? And also, is Asmongold a bad person? So tell artists their opinions, doesn't matter when it comes to AI. Gets rightfully flamed for being unsympathetic towards the people that pretty much made his career, Asmongold. Now, I go back and forth on this idea of made his career, because again, this comes down to consumer practices, doesn't it? It goes down to what consumers do, what consumers enjoy, and the relationship between a consumer and a product, which is, he doesn't owe you anything for making his career. The people who made his career did so not out of altruism. They did so because they were consuming a product that they enjoyed. And the minute they stop enjoying that product, they'll go away. He doesn't owe them anything. They're not entitled to anything because it's a symbiotic relationship. He produces something that people like, they consume it, he earns from that, he gains from that, and they also gain from that because they're consuming something they enjoy. And again, proving the point that if he were really pissed off all these people and they made his career and he couldn't exist without it, they'd all obviously go away, wouldn't they? And then he wouldn't have a career, because that's how, you know, consuming a product works. But even though he did all these bad things to these people who made him, they're not, or at least I don't see these people going away, so kind of proving his point again. Asmongold pumps out up to 5 videos a day, with a better half of them being complete unedited re-uploads of other people's videos with him in the corner shaking his head. I've watched a lot of Asmongold in my time, and you are massively... If you want to attack somebody and engage with their opinion and why they're a bad person, or just any point that they're making or what they do, the best thing you can do is not, you know, straw man or diminish the actual thing you're arguing against, because then that makes you look disingenuous. And 21,000 people left a like on this one. Anyone can say Asmongold is stealing content. You can, and we can go back and forth, and I have my opinion and you have your opinion, and we can talk about this and we can have a serious hot debate about it. But you cannot debate on that topic if you're coming in with a position. All he does when he uploads reactions or theft of other people's content, as you want to put it, is sit in the corner and shake his head. If you've watched any of his reaction videos, he absolutely does not do that. So coming in with that premise, you're literally just lying because you don't like the guy, which people do. But it doesn't make you look good. It makes it look like you don't have any moral high ground if you're going to lie about somebody in your attempt to, you know, be on the other side and go against this bad person. That doesn't make you a good person if you're just going to lie. That's disingenuous. And what makes you think he would have any respect for any artist ever? Yeah, what would make you think that? You shouldn't do. You should ask him. And then whether you want to believe him or not is entirely on you. And this is his tweet. Success of Palworld proves that the only thing customers actually care about is a good game. AI, slavery, bestiality, copyright infringement. It's a video game. These are pretend problems that people don't actually care about. Make good game, people buy game. Simple. Yeah, in a very simple way, that is true, as we've already established here. So my take on the Asmongold clip is a little different because he's telling the truth. Somebody gets it. So here is Asmongold's room, by the way. So let's diminish his point and just attack his character and attack him and how he decides to live his life, which is a very, you know, it's a very, I guess, liberal thing to do, which I never agree with when people do this, because the idea that somebody lives in a way that you don't like or approve of is a reason to diminish whatever they're saying or any of their opinions is just, I don't know. I see it as pathetic, to be honest, because there's so many other things you could say about this. You could just bring up your opinion on what he said instead of just saying, look at his room. Like, it's boring, guys. It's boring discourse. So Asmongold in this clip 100% reflects what the consumer values when buying products. True. Many items are manufactured in China and people don't care. Why would they draw the line at AI? Yeah, I mean, these factories that have to have netting up because so many people jump off the buildings to escape the nightmare of working in these factories that are owned by many times big Western companies that people buy their products of, made for pennies on the dollar with children. Sometimes, we're not going to get into because this is not a political channel, but obviously there's certain people that may or may not be enslaved in some of these countries that are working in these places. But we're going to draw the line on people playing a video game that doesn't have any evidence that uses AI, but we've decided it has. The worst part about Asmongold isn't hearing his stupid takes, it's having to look at him. Just don't. I know this solves so many problems that you have. Just don't look at him. Just don't listen to his opinions, and then you won't have to care about it, will you? The entire world, if Asmongold shut the fuck up, yeah, we'd be in a utopia if it wasn't for those meddling multi-millionaire streamers giving their opinions on a platform you don't have to engage with, saying things that you don't have to care about, because you can just not listen to that opinion in the first place. It exists on a place in the internet you can just avoid. All right, sorry, somebody was at the door. So this is a certified classic here. Just follow me down this path. Asmongold is, and always has been, an advocate for consumerism and complacency. He literally built his entire career off other people's content. He's not dropping harsh realities. He's just a spineless gamer chud who should really stay in his lane. What you've just established is that Asmongold is, and always has been, this thing. Then you've said he should stay in his lane. But if this opinion is that, he's already in his lane, isn't he? But, don't let that one get to you. Don't let that one bake your noodle. Here we go. This one's a classic. I absolutely love these. So why do we keep asking streamers for their opinions? You didn't. It wasn't for you. It was for his audience that was watching him. Nobody, the people who care asked him. The people like you who don't, didn't. So who are you speaking to here? Not once in 22 years on this plane of existence have I ever thought, I wonder what Asmongold thinks. And yet, here you are, engaging with Asmongold's opinion that you didn't need to engage with if you didn't care. Imagine, let's go back up to the screenshot here of the dolphin jumping into the sky of mysteries and wonder that would exist if people who didn't like something just simply didn't engage with it. If you don't care about his opinion, just simply don't listen to it. It's crazy as a concept, but again, who cares? We're just talking about drama because people like drama. Asmongold is so dumb. The motherfucker has a wall next to his bed he spits and smears blood onto. What are you expecting from him? LMFAO. Yeah, there you go. Got it. His opinion now completely irrelevant. He can never have an opinion about anything ever because of this thing. Got him. Man, I haven't listened to a single clip, anything Asmongold yaps about since I learned what his room looks like. That's fair. You're, what consumers do. These things disqualify this thing of me enjoying or liking it or consuming it, so I don't. Man, that's crazy, bro. But if you did listen to something he said and liked it, you might still think about those things, but consume it anyway. It's almost as if this is the point he was making. That's fucking mad. Here we go, look, another classic. Of course, Asmongold doesn't respect artists because he thinks that a shower is an art installation and not a thing he should be using every day, referencing the fact that Asmongold self-admittedly doesn't shower all that often, which, there we go, got him again. I don't think, right, I think if this is your opinion, fair enough, but I don't think you're engaging with what he said. Maybe he doesn't respect artists. Why should he respect you in the first place? Maybe I'm going to get some shit for this one, but you don't inherently deserve respect just because you do a thing, just because you are a thing. I don't understand where that one comes from. But also, on top of that, he didn't say he doesn't respect artists. He said their opinion on this topic doesn't matter, which is fucking true. At the core nuts and bolts of this entire conversation, there is one thing that remains true. Whether or not you like something is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, not an artist, if you're, John from down the street or the President of the United States. It makes no difference what your opinion is to the fact of numbers that you can see and how people engage with things and consume things. It just is what it is. My opinion doesn't matter on it. I don't think I'm any different. I'm not an artist. It's just simply true that if somebody's going to consume something because they enjoy it, it doesn't matter what you think about it. You're not going to shame them or do anything to change the fact that they're going to do that. And even if you could change one person's mind, you're not going to change everybody's mind, because people are self-interested. People will do what they want to do, consume the things that they want to consume. Full fucking stop. Period. You can just move on from there. There doesn't need to be anything else said. It's just true. There you go. Look, somebody else just talking about asmongold consuming human feces, because he said artists' opinions don't matter on whether or not somebody enjoys a product enough to consume it, regardless of the ramifications or who is out of a job due to that. This is how asmongold lives, and you're just now learning that he's a fucking problem. He's a problem. He's a problem. Because he gave his opinion on what is essentially a talk show for people that want to follow his opinions. And the only reason you're engaging with his opinion is because it got pushed to you by social media, by people who have a problem with him giving his opinions. So here we go. Here's Art of Pilgrim. So clearly an artist, and he raises his concern, which I do appreciate. Again, if I'm going to disagree with you, if you raise your opinion in a respectful manner and don't attack somebody based on what they look like or how they live or whatever else, you know, congratulations, you're doing it properly, even if I disagree fundamentally with what you're saying. So he replies to asmongold and he said, dude, all the games you love to play like World of Warcraft were handcrafted by insanely talented people that often go unnoticed by the wider world. True. You spat on their talent. We'll get to that. Hard work, and assume their irrelevance. Even though it's these artists who craft the worlds you and your viewers get lost in. Worlds that AI could not conjure up by itself. The funny thing is, what you said is somewhat ironic. The people buying the product often judge it based on how good it looks. Our opinions aren't irrelevant. Our opinion, experiences, and lives often influence the worlds you enjoy. Is he wrong? In places. Now, you spat on the talents, hard work, and assume their irrelevance. He didn't assume... Again, I might be wrong on what he was saying, but my interpretation of it, and I haven't watched his full video to go in depth on what he actually meant. What I inferred from what he said, the conclusion I came to, was saying that their opinion on this topic is irrelevant, not that they are irrelevant as humans. He wasn't saying the things that they do, the art that they produce, their opinions about life or anything else is irrelevant overall. He was saying, in the face of what people will do, in what consumers will consume, what they think is irrelevant, which, if you're going to argue with that, again, you're not arguing, you're arguing against objective reality. This is just the world. Maybe I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. That's just how it is. So even though it's the artists who craft the worlds you enjoy and your views get lost in, worlds that AI could not conjure up by itself, obviously not. This is a chicken and egg in a way. So basically, what the argument is, if artists didn't exist to be able to feed into what AI consumes to pump things out, then AI couldn't function, right? At least for now. And the funny thing is, when you said it's somewhat ironic, the people buying the product often judge it based on how good it looks. Sometimes true. I personally don't care how good something looks, but it is what it is. asmongold responds and says, you're absolutely right, but the value those things have exists because people like me say it does. This, again, is the question of, you know, you could be the best content creator ever on the planet and have no viewers whatsoever. Then you're not the best content creator ever on the planet, are you? You are what is decided by consensus. asmongold is only popular because his viewership makes him popular. A game only sells units because people decide to buy the game. An artist who makes a living drawing things, creating things, singing, whatever it's going to be, is only able to make that living because consumers decide it is so. It's just real life. One of the special things about almost all art is that it has no intrinsic value or function, and instead is valued subjectively. True. And then the guy comes back with, this doesn't negate the opinions of those who made it. Again, you're not engaging with the opinion he gave in the first place, at least not on the surface level that I can understand here. It's like saying the OTK network or your stream only has value because we, not you, enjoy it. It does. It does. You're getting it. You're right. It does only have value because people are consuming it. Because if they didn't, it wouldn't be anything. OTK couldn't... You could say, I have OTK, which is his organization, by the way, his One True King network. It's like a collective of streamers and stuff, like a esports company that doesn't really do esports. That only has value. You could say you have this thing. You could say, oh, you know, I own OTK. But if nobody is even around to hear you say it, if it doesn't do anything because it's got no funding and nobody watches it and nobody engages with it, what is it? You know, it only has this value and exists as this thing that does stuff because people enjoy it and interact with it. That's just true. You won't know, TK, forget you, dude. Who cares what you think? Again, that's not what he's saying. People are totally just watching your streams for your gaming only, not your opinions and viewpoint on certain matters. You and I both know that's nonsense. It may be a good game, but it's not impressive. I think this is the problem, is when you're interacting with this whole opinion as if it's beginning and ending with the game. Asmongold says, right again, if no one watched my stream, it would have no value. True. Who would sponsor a streamer who has no views? Nobody. How much would ad makes? Nothing. How would I get subscribers? You wouldn't. Something's market value versus personal value are two different things. I don't know what's complicated about this topic. The guy responds, perhaps it's a difference in perspective here and what we value more. Sounds like you're a slave to your viewers and sponsors then, my dude. Everybody who makes anything that relies on a third party, which is almost everything on the planet. I can't think of anything that doesn't. If you do something that requires somebody who isn't you to function, like I couldn't make videos as a living, you couldn't make art as a living. If somebody wasn't your patron in some way, whether that's ads, personally paying for it, whatever it's going to be, if you didn't give somebody something and they gave you something back, you wouldn't have anything. And obviously using slave as a term is, it's going a bit far, but the premise is you are beholden to these people. And in a way, you always are going to be, but not in the way that you're talking about. You don't have to think of it like this crazy, oh, you're a slave to these people. No, you just do what you're going to do. And if some people enjoy it, they're going to. And then you make the decision, if they're not, on whether or not you change it up. But if you do or don't, it's obviously going to change how that thing is consumed and perceived and whether it's going to be successful or not. This is how everybody works. This is how every business works. This is how every content creator, every artist, that's how everybody works. You don't have to necessarily change, and maybe what you're doing immediately just works, and you don't have to feel like, you've got to do stuff that people want you to do. But at the end of the day, you don't exist without these people in this capacity. That's just true. But I know you stream because you love and value it for yourself and couldn't think of doing anything else. Yeah, that can also be true. Because obviously if something that you do just jives with people, you don't have to think of yourself as a slave, even though necessarily, again, I don't want to use that word because I think it's a little bit loaded, but those people do have to exist, so you do have to keep them happy. Whether or not you actually consciously have to or not makes no difference. I think you're missing my point. I make and share art because I value it. I make tutorials on how to make 3D art because I genuinely enjoy doing it. Even if I get minimal views, I don't care. That's fine, but it doesn't really matter to the wider topic of conversation. I develop Rust because I genuinely enjoy the art I make for it, and the developers I have around me making it are like family. Their opinion on developing a game matters to me. This is irrelevant to the point that was made. I think you're the one that's missing the point. I think you're missing the point completely. Again, you're treating it as if he's saying every individual who has an opinion is irrelevant. They shouldn't have an opinion. Their opinion doesn't matter. When what he's saying, at least in my brain, how I think of it, is he's saying whatever your opinion is, what people are going to do, what people are going to consume, your opinion doesn't matter to that. Like, I think it's very simple. Maybe I've just got something wrong with me that I think this is so simple, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of people really, really misunderstood and read into the wording of this without really looking at the meaning of what was said. For me, if no one watches your stream, it doesn't mean it has no intrinsic value. Now, I might be wrong. I don't really pick fault on English, but isn't intrinsic value like a financial term in general that would literally mean it has no intrinsic value? I think he just means value in general, but I could be off on that. Unless you're just framing it all through the lens of money, then that's a shame. I think that's where that term comes from. But in terms of whether or not you could literally do something, how could Asmongold function doing the things he enjoys doing if he couldn't make money from it? He I don't want to get into his family situation, whatever else, but he would need to earn money from doing streaming to be able to support that lifestyle. So the idea that I just think this entire conversation is just so lost in the weeds of people getting angry over something that I don't think was even said, and then also taking it to a place that it really didn't need to go. Instead of just, again, while I think that this guy's missed the point completely, at least he tried to engage with it with without attacking Asmongold or attacking anybody else. Okay, so this is Charlie's take on it. Oh, look, human with morals. Again, much better than what Asmongold was blabbering about. So let's see what Charlie's opinion on this is, because I do also like Charlie, so let's see.
If it does come out that AI was used in this game, that will certainly change my impression of it. I am not looking forward to the future where AI is replacing real human ingenuity in entertainment. I am very much dreading that. It's extremely concerning to imagine that future where all of your entertainment is just part of an algorithm that the AI knows that you're going to enjoy and clap and spit up at. So if
kind of already is. The reason Charlie is, gets loads of views on YouTube is literally because the YouTube algorithm says, you person who has watched Charlie's videos before, or watched somebody like Charlie, or it's decided that people like you off the profiling they've essentially done off what you do watch, you might like this video, and then they show it to you, and then you watch more of Charlie's videos, and the algorithm's like, you like Charlie, I'm going to keep feeding you Charlie's content because that will make you stay on the platform longer. How does Twitter work? How does all social media work? This is literally, we are already dictated on what we're going to consume by algorithms. That's just how it is. Now, in terms of like stuff being created by AIs and stuff, I used to love procedural generation. I know that's not AI, but just, come with me on this magical journey. I used to love procedurally generated games up until the point where I realized the games, it might work for certain things, but almost always when I play even like a survival game or whatever, when I played Valheim and everyone was saying Valheim's so good, which it was a good game, I think games are almost always worse off by something being procedurally generated by an algorithm that they've created, or whatever word we're going to use, that just takes like, parameters and then spits out a game world random each time. I think that's considerably worse than a game handcrafted by people that said this needs to be here because this makes sense, and this needs to be here because then when you go from here to here, there's this experience in the middle, and every part of this game world we've crafted. I think that's always going to be the case. And I think that matters for many things in the world. I don't think we'll get to the point where that's the case. And if we do, it's because consumers decided that this is what they want to do. I don't buy FIFA every year. I don't buy Call of Duty every year. The things that myself as a consumer don't like and don't want to support or that I appreciate, I don't do. I don't engage in. But also I am cognizant of the fact that many people do enjoy that and will continue to do so up until the point where they don't, or that just becomes, the prevalent driving force in video games or whatever else it's going to be.
If it does come out that Palworld used AI in a big capacity during its development, obviously that's going to change how I feel about the game.
Yeah.
100. If it does come out that AI...
I also think it would change how I think about the game as well. Would it make me stop playing it? Personally, no. And I know some people are going to get upset about this. I have tons of artists in my community, and I hope you understand this, guys. I don't want to get into the morbid reason why I feel this way and like how I feel about life in general. But when it comes to something that... I can't say this without it coming off really badly, but unless you can personally see and understand, the hardships that would befall other people through the actions of you individually, as opposed to a group consensus of we're all just going to play this thing regardless if, in 10 years down the line, it might mean an artist doesn't have a job, which literally has gone on in every industry and will continue with like robotics and things like that. It's just something that I can't do. I can't do it because at the end of the day, am I going to have fun playing the game? Yeah. Would I have fun doing other things? Probably. But do I want to do this thing? Yeah, I'm probably going to do it. And people take that sentiment and sentence and they will go, what if you enjoyed doing all these bad things and these terrible things and hurting people and stuff like that? And at that point, you've lost me and you've lost where I'm going to follow you on this conversation. I don't think people are bad inherently or bad people for doing something that they enjoy that might down the line, ripple effect or whatever else, cause some people to lose their jobs. Because again, most of the things we do, most of the things we consume are built off of the back of people having much harsher things happen to them. Do I wish AI went away? Maybe in some ways. Do I think AI might eventually cure diseases and help many people? Yeah, sure. I just think that this entire conversation is so infant right now. We just know so little. The whole thing is just, I'd have to really sit and think about it and really come to a consensus or conclusion in my brain on really how I feel about this stuff. But just off the surface level of my brain, would I stop playing a game because it used AI? Again, this game has no evidence that it has done. It's literally a conversation based on nothing at all, as far as I can tell. at the moment, right now, how I feel, I would continue playing the game. And I think life is too short to worry about stuff like this, especially when there's way more things that are doing way more harmful stuff that I could spend my time thinking about and not consuming, but most people just don't care because it doesn't impact them and what they do and where their bias begins and ends. So yeah, this is probably going to be a mad unpopular opinion, and I understand that the video's long and probably ranty in places and whatever else, but that's literally what this channel's for. It's probably never going to change. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe. Allow me to continue existing on the internet landscape and the algorithm pushing videos to people. But there we go. Thanks for watching. You can, go buy Gamer Sups. Link in video description. 10% off. A good product. You can buy powders. They have ones like titty milk, which, who doesn't want some titty milk? You can get 10% off at the link in the video description, and they support me. I get a kickback whenever you buy anything, which is cool. And if you don't, then I won't get anything, and that's how consumers work. Fucking crazy. So there we go. That's part of the drama, and I'm sure we'll be back with something relating to this, because the Pal World Inferno rages on. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.